The 27th of July, 2019. I went to my business establishment where I'm employed on Paradise Island on the beach as a beach vendor. You know, I'm a small entrepreneur. Okay, the umbrella idea first came to me in 1991. You know, late 1990, early 1991. And, but I never did anything with the idea until 2005, where my comments at the time is known on all the different talk shows that are still having talk shows, and talk shows today are even greater because of some of the things I would have said from way back then as relates to things like this. The aggression by the Bahamas government towards the people in terms of turning off our light and our power and charging us exorbitant electricity bills and giving us a lot of trouble from a government towards the people. And because of our political views and our religious views, we are victimized, taken advantage of as a community of people by the two-party system that we presently have on this 27th day of July 2019. Now, I went to my work establishment as a beach vendor. I was hurt in 2005, let me digress for a minute, to find out my idea and the business that I operated for some time before the first competitor in the umbrella business was given a license by the then government at the time. In 2006. By 2006, Mr. Paul Roll was granted a license through the Ministry of Tourism, and subsequently, Miss Caprio Sanders and Mr. Larry Miller was given a license between 2011 and 2019. So they have been making money for some time now of my idea. So the status quo in my country have taken from me my idea, as they have taken from us as a society our natural resources in the last 46 years as of July 10th, 2019. Our children are suffering, if not suffering, could be doing much better for very large and, in my humble opinion, the majority of the citizens that are entitled to live a decent life, a dignified life, live with dignity in our society and in our brand new world, which is now very small. We wish to have peace in the world, but we wish to overlook the truth. Well, the truth is like gravity. What goes up must come down. And if a lie was told to get me arrested so the competition can make the money in the holidays, then my life is not about money. My life is a spiritual one. That because of who I am and my respect for humanity and my respect for my environment, my respect for nature itself, I'm blessed. I was born blessed, thanks to my parents and my grandparents who further lifted me up and on their shoulders, which is a much greater story than my mother and father. Yeah, my mother and father is mommy and daddy. So I honor my mother and father, who both is alive today, on this 27th day of July 2019. She was stunned when I went. In fact, I use her car because I don't personally have a car. Believe it, world, I don't. I take a bus, or I take the new type of taxi, what we call the hackers. Okay, the hackers. See, some hackers in some country mean to hack a computer. Hackers in my country mean to spend $20 to get to work and $20 to get home. $20 Bahamian is equivalent to $20 US. In the summer, when the tourists are on Paradise Island, Atlantis would be inviting a lot of uppity Bahamians to the establishment, the young and the old, mostly sophisticated in speech. Bahamians, especially foreigners, very small. It will always be a small minority. The emphasis is to take away from Amos Jr. Miller his birthright, and to erase Amos Jr. Miller and anything that he ever stood for and everything that he stood for. But I stand on the solid rock of Christ, the Yeshua. In the name of Yahweh Elohim Son, my foot will never be moved. Now, I left from work after between 6 and 7 on the 26th of July, 2019. 33 umbrellas was stocked. Okay? And my first worker arrived to work between 7:30 and 8 o'clock. My second worker reached to work between 9 o'clock and 10. Both to find that all of the umbrellas were taken away in the dead of night or early morning by Atlantis security. That's what they normally do. That's what they like to do. Normally like to use the Pitter security and the Atlantis security, a bunch of security who on a payroll have very little to do. And so at some point, what they do, they pay these people to do what they get paid to do, which is hard work, very hard, because no one worked for Pitter or for Atlantis as securities and don't work hard. And so one of the hardship they would have had to do was remove more than 70 umbrellas off the beach in the night or early morning, very late at night on the 26th of July 2019, or very early in the morning of the 27th of July 2019, which was early this morning on a Saturday morning, the Lord's Day, which was supposed to be a praise and worship and a day of meditation, one with the Father and His Son, and the universe and the humanity within us, the love within us being disseminated for our Father, which is supposed to be a happy Saturday. Well, last night, I woke up, to a house in darkness. But at the end of the day, I was able to go on the Guardian Radio 96.9 megahertz FM between the hours of 9 and 10. Maybe even after 10 it was on. I was there. And I gave a little speech. Y'all hear it later. But the point is, when I did that, when I went on the Guardian Radio this morning, I did not know all of my umbrellas was taken away by night by the Atlantis security. This after the 18th of July 2019, when I was disturbed in the midst of the tourists from operating my license in the environment of the beach, by the Atlantis security. Now they come within a few days, a week or so, and remove all of my umbrellas and all of the competition umbrellas. Okay? Now, we have the Prime Minister and a cabinet member of Parliament for Kalani, and a former cabinet minister, member of Parliament, Brent Seminit, for Montague, said, or wherever he's the member of Parliament for, okay, should be right now in handcuff and out of the people's office. But because they have nothing better to do, like I said to the young guy who worked for me, Mr. Taraz Johnson, 18-year-old, my son Joshua Jared Miller, he's 19, he can't walk. I said to Taraz, Taraz, many times, it's good that you're here, but boy, God work in mysterious ways, because I have a son 19, older than you by a year, and if he was able to walk, it would be him working here. So thank God that it's you. So now this also take away a job from Mr. Raz Johnson and my good friend CJ, that we call CJ. CJ could still do jet ski, but now my competition, both of them, Mr. Caprio, Mistress Caprio Sanders Miller, and Mr. Paul Roll, both of them have umbrellas and coconuts selling rum and stuff on the Cabbage Beach area or whatever they used to do over there. Okay? Now, Amos Jr. Miller is the only person affected in this matter relative to the Bahamian people. Does it have anything? Well, when I made my speech on the Guardian radio in regards to what decimated, the middle class in the Bahamas, I didn't know my umbrellas was taken by night. That's how I make my income. I don't rob the Bahamian people out of their natural resources for 46 years plus and try to silence the opposition to the Her Majesty government and Her Majesty's loyal opposition. So, as far as I'm concerned, I'm being attacked by the British government and their interests. Well, at the end of the day, I stand with America, and if America can stand by and let the British rule in such egregious way as they were already a disgrace in 1953 when the Progressive Liberal Party was formed in the first place by 3 white Bahamian British subjects, at the time. Great Britain was a disgrace. Okay? Now, any nation come up against the Bahamian sovereigns as of 1973, you have lost. You are a loser. You will continue to lose unless you join forces and join hands with Amos Jr. Miller. Full stop. I born making history. And when I die, I'll make history. And make history after history, long after I'm gone. Both myself and my children. And so I give thanks and praise to Yahweh Elohim's Son for great things. The Most High, the Creator of the universe, especially of my universe, the core of my center. The core of my core is the Most High. Every weapon that have formed, I thank you and I bless you in the name of Yahweh Elohim's Son, because now you get to see the other side when the Most High is in the midst of the life of his Son. What he is prepared to do for his children in respect to his namesake. Amen? And so, no matter what Atlantis do, they're doing it on behalf of the Bahamas government, who's upset because of these views. It was the Bahamas government would place the people, along with the so-called Christian church and very rich people with influence who place persons in the hotel and give them their job and paying them a salary. And so I expect for the Bahamian people who are employed by the hotel to continue to do their job and do it to the best of their ability and give Yahweh Elohim's Son, even in secret, the glory and the praise. Hallelujah. Once they lift up their head to the rising sun every morning and every evening acknowledge the sun, then my life and my birth and my life and my death will not be in vain. Okay, and so, like I said, Atlantis is in contravention of the Constitution in respect to breaking my rights, infringing on my rights. But you know what? When you get corrupt politicians, kleptocracy men and women in power, like the Prime Minister, the so-called Hubert Alexander Menace, interfering, and Brent Seminet and a corrupt official like the Minister of Tourism, Diagla, someone give him a couple dollars to start some washouts for the majority of black people, which is the working class, the very same people who working for them, for everyone. Someone got to wash their clothes thanks to technology and the bad treatment they were about to treat the Bahamian people. Technology and their wickedness all catch up with all is moving at the same time. And thanks to that, the poor people who they were going to exploit and is exploiting because of these technologies. They will continue to exploit because the people got to work. At the end of the day, their 5-year term will be ended and Bahamians will still be alive. They would have only made some money. They would have only caused many of us our lives as a result of them and their personal kleptocracy ambition to make money. So they have taken the income, the residual income that I established in 2005, in case if I ran into difficulties in the future, I would have that business to fall on. Well, in the future, I'm running into difficulties with the Bahamas government by way of them using, in the past, the Royal Bahamas Police Force, in the present, the Atlantis, and the Royal Bahamas Police Force, and attorneys, and insurance corporations, and banks to destabilize my life and the life of my fellow brothers and sisters, citizens, sovereign citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. One day, the natural resources being divided among the Bahamian people that will cause them and cause us to be able, to use a portion of what Mr. Brent Seminet had to say. Now he can go and take care of his children. Well, a portion of the natural resources being divided, sold on the international market, after we become partners with nations like real people in the real part of the American government and the British government, okay, as a real Bahamian government, sovereign by the people, called and chosen by the people, not elected by the people out of fear from lying, stealing, cheating, murder, fornication, adultery, and all this foolishness is what we all perpetrate to keep the Bahamian people, homosexuality and lesbianism and Satanism and witchcraft and disobedience is what you all use to keep the Bahamian people bound to your divisive, disoriented scheme to, one, continue to keep the people divided and uneducated. Yet the people is supernatural, so we will be educated. We just need the technology to make itself available. Thanks to Father Time, it's done. Okay? And so they took away my idea, gave and divided it into three. Three. Then, at the end, on this 27th day of July 2019, all three of the companies